Welcome to the Digital Chair by Salon Monster, a podcast for indie beauty pros and salon owners who'd rather be themselves than follow the rules. I'm your host, Liam, and this week we'll be talking with Jermaine Mendoza about building a lasting beauty career through fundamentals, humility, and authenticity. I hope you enjoy it. I am here with Jermaine Mendoza, and we're going to have a little chat about whatever we feel like. Did I get your name correct, first of all?
Absolutely, 100.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, Jermaine, do you want to just tell us just a little bit about who you are, where you come from, and we can go from there.
Yeah, for sure. So I was actually born and raised in San Antonio, Texas. My parents divorced when I was about 3 years old. I have a twin sister.
Okay.
We are double conceived twins, meaning two separate
Wow.
sperm, two separate eggs. I was conceived, and about 3 to 4 months later, my sister was conceived. They figured that out about roughly about her development when she came out of the womb. We were premature, like
Right.
most twins.
Yep.
But with that being said, after my parents divorced, my dad was still in the military. My mom moved off to Mississippi to be with someone else, and me and my twin ended up at my grandparents' house. I speak a lot
Okay.
about them because they were part of my upbringing. My grandparents were from the Philippines.
Okay.
They moved here to America in the 50s, I believe. My grandfather joined
Yep.
the Air Force when the U.S. still occupied the Philippine Islands. And
Yep.
my grandmother was a hairstylist, really popular hairstylist
Oh,
in the
wow.
Philippines in her 20s. And she is one of the major reasons why I'm in this industry. I watched
Amazing.
her go through the Texas board of licensing back in the mid to late 90s. Didn't really amount to anything. She just wanted to do hair at the house. I tell people all the
Yep.
time, I'm very versed with the smell of perms because of that.
Yes.
But
And
when
once
I
you know
was
that smell, it's there forever. Like I can't
absolutely,
ever forget that smell. Yep.
it's burned
Yep.
into our senses for sure.
Yep.
But yeah, once I turned about 13 years old, I picked up my first pair of clippers, a set of scissors and combs, and my neighborhood friends. I just started jacking up heads like crazy out of the garage, and kind of taught myself how to cut hair from watching my grandmother. And through high school, had friends that went to cosmetology programs and watched from them and learned as much as I possibly could. And then around 2009, after a few years of going to college and trying to make an art career for myself, being homeless for a stint. I decided, because of a best friend of mine who'd been in the industry, that it was time for me to go to school. Which that's a whole can of worms that we can open up if you like.
If you like, I'm happy with whatever.
Yeah, this young lady, Vicky Trevino, she's one of my best friends in the world. She came um, to my apartment when I was kind of down and out, kind of making the ends meet day to day. Watched me cut someone's hair randomly because I used that. It was a kitchen beautician for a little while, where I was using
Yep.
that to make some money and make ends meet. And she said, "You're really talented. You should definitely go to school." And I laughed in her face. Now, caveat to all of that, my best friend, she's heavily tattooed, more tattoos than I do. When I met her, mohawk, bandana, pair of brass knuckles in her back pocket. Now
Right.
she is a power lifter, and
Awesome.
she's also a roller derby girl. So she's out there like elbowing people for fun. And so when
Oh
I tell
yeah.
people, he told me to be at the Paul Mitchell School down in San Antonio on a specific date at a specific time. And if I wasn't there, she was going to kick my ass. So, I
Yep.
showed up 30 minutes early.
Mm-hmm.
um, but I always tell people, my grandmother was probably the one person in my family, other than my twin, that showed me um, the most support I could ever ask for in life. Anything I wanted to do, she supported me. And my grandfather, being traditional Filipino Asian man, was like, "You need to go to the military and become a
Of
doctor and
course.
everything like that." But because of all of that, um, I had a few people to support me, and Vicky was one of those people that, again, if you don't show up at this school, I'm going to kick your ass. She had
Mm-hmm.
financial aid papers already filled out for me. All I had to do was go sign. Um,
Wow.
and
What a
so
friend.
this industry changed my life. She changed my life, and I
Yeah.
couldn't be more grateful for
Yeah. That is amazing. I mean, she did change your life. We
She
should
certainly
all
did.
be so lucky to have a friend like that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Um, it's amazing how many people I know end up in this industry. Different stories, but rarely is it. Well, I always wanted to do hair, and so I went to hair school and became a hairstylist. It just doesn't.
Right.
It seems like there's just these different roundabout ways so many of us end up doing it, especially those of us that love it and survive the first few years, because it seems like
Absolutely.
not that many people really. I feel like a lot of us when we're young, a lot of the people that end up in this industry when they're young do it because they don't know what else to do and they think it'll be easy, which
Eh,
always kind of cracks me up because I mean, it's not hard to pick up a pair of scissors and cut hair, but to survive the industry is not particularly easy. I find most people bail out of it. So I always find it interesting when this industry fills up with people that think it doesn't take that much work to do it, and they die a slow death. Did
Absolutely.
you find? Did you find that it wasn't that big a deal for you because of what you were used to up to that point?
I think that's a really good, and nobody's ever asked me that question. And I think that the clearest answer I could give you is that because of the experiences that I had, growing up with someone who did hair, having a lot of friends in the
Mm-hmm.
industry, um, doing hair. I traveled all over San Antonio for a while I was in college and did house hair. Um, and that's a very humbling experience. Anybody who does,
Yeah.
hair out of anybody's house, not being able to lay somebody down and wash their hair properly and have, you know, a big box of products to bring a haul around with you. It's that you
Mm-hmm.
if you do that on a regular basis and you make good money doing it, like my kudos to you because I've been there and it was torturous for
Yeah.
years. But I think I got lucky in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
My passion wasn't in hair. I did hair,
Yep.
and I was fairly good at it. But I think there's a level of humility that you have to have in this industry. There's a lot of people that kind of go into cosmetology school and believe that, oh, I'm the shit, and I'm going
Yeah.
to learn whatever I need to learn, and then I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to open up my own salon and become famous and this, that, and the other. And I learned that level of humility kind of early on because of my homelessness, because of having to sleep on people's couches and things of that nature. I think just life in general kind of humbled me early enough that I got into
Yep.
school and my best friend introduced me to my first mentor in the industry. Vanessa Torres, who was my core
Nice.
instructor. She was my first teacher in cosmetology school. She she became a close friend of mine. To this day, is probably one of my best friends as well. Um, these are two women, two really strong women in my life who really kind of not only gave me respect for women in general, but
Mm-hmm.
first two people who weren't blood related that actually believed in me more than I believed in myself.
Yeah.
Um, but because of that, Vanessa told me that one thing you need to know is when you come into here, although you've been doing hair for years now, um, you need to unlearn everything that you've taught yourself. Fresh start. And so
Amen.
I took that to heart, and I think that was the moment that I realized that I wanted to be an educator. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to learn how to cut hair. It's a passion of mine. I was forced to do color, so I understand color and can talk shop, but cutting and styling is probably my favorite things to do in the industry. And so learning how to cut hair and learning the mechanics of cutting hair and the geometry and everything like that really allowed me to really lean into being an educator and wanting to be an educator and having mentors as educators who sparked that interest in me as well. And so I don't know that I had it hard in cosmetology. I wouldn't say I had it easy because it's not easy. I'll be the first one to admit to anybody, you're going to school for a couple thousand hours. Here in Texas, they keep reducing the recommended hours to get your
Yep.
license and everything like that, which I think is an atrocity. I think that it's necessary, but I
Yep.
also am the first person to break people's hearts and be like, yeah, even when I went to school at 1,500 hours, it's not enough.
No.
It's absolutely not enough. We've got students
No.
coming out of the schools that can't even blow dry properly, and so um, I say the classic European model, 4 years of college, and really kind of focus in what you're going to do is where it should be.
Yeah.
Um, but that's a side. um,
No, I completely agreed. I mean, I was lucky enough to, well, like it chose me. I didn't choose it. And I got to do an apprenticeship. I was invited into a salon. Basically, it was just a job. I just took it as a job, but it was an apprenticeship. So it was really, it was 3 years. I mean, 2 years here is technically how long an apprenticeship was supposed to be. 3 was how long I took till I bothered to get a license. And even at the end of that, I would argue I just barely knew how to do hair.
right,
I knew how to take care of people,
right.
and I knew how to run a space, and I knew how to get to work on time, and I knew how to fold towels, and I knew how to do all that other stuff that was going to make being in a salon easy, but I didn't know how to do hair yet. So I completely agree. 4 years for sure. Really,
Absolutely.
it would be great if there was a master's and PhD program, essentially, where you can just continue on and do your 10-year track after 8 years of school or whatever. Well, that's really interesting. So listening to you talk about it, I mean, I know when I got my start, and even talking to people over the last 25 or 30 years that I've been doing this, I see this pattern in the people who, and I'm not going to say it was easy for you because you didn't say it was easy, but the people who didn't didn't have trouble with the work that it takes. It seems like those of us that were in that boat, most of us grew up poor. Like you just don't find a lot of dirt poor kids that struggle with work and putting in time and just that aspect of it. We might not have learned how to learn very well, some of us, or maybe lacked certain types of confidence. But it seems like the work wasn't the problem for you. Did you find you started to notice early on that the people who had stronger work ethics and the people who didn't have a problem with the work were the ones who were making it?
Um, I feel like the generation of cosmetology students that I was able to mix with 2009, 2010, um, there was a lot of pretty people in cosmetology school. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of model-esque people that went to school and kind of were able to gain a clientele not only through their work ethic, but because they were attractive enough to attract a certain type of person. Um,
Yeah,
growing up
that doesn't
Filipino,
hold you back.
no, it
Right.
definitely doesn't, especially in this industry.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
growing up Filipino, especially under my grandparents' roof, there was I mean, culturally, even there's this kind of unspoken truth that you're just going to work hard.
Yeah.
And there was a saying at Paul Mitchell when I was in school that I used to hate hearing all the time, and I think it's been said throughout the entire industry. If you really love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Mm.
And
I
I
mean,
call bullshit on it, um, for the sense that I feel that those of us who are really passionate about what we do, if you really have a passion for what you do, if you really love what you're doing, you're going to work harder than anyone else, because
yeah.
you want to see the fruits of your labor. Um,
Yeah. Well, and it
it's
is quite literally work. I mean, like this
exactly,
idea that like you won't work a day in your life. No, it's quite literally work. Work is work. It's not called work because you don't have to put in work. It's called work because it's
exactly,
work. That's not a
exactly.
negative. We treat it as this other thing. That's fine. It
Right.
just It is work.
Right. Absolutely. Now, at 43 years old, again, having worked since I was 16 and trying to find different avenues to get myself out of the troubles that life can give you, I found that my work ethic first came from like a need for survival,
Yep.
obviously, for most of us. Um, and then secondary, my generation, that kind of like elder millennial, zillennial, whatever you want to call it, generation, we still
Hmm.
have, and to this day, still struggle with that hustle mentality.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that what I'm seeing on social media today in our industry is that people are starting to realize that, look, I'm putting my heart and soul into everything that I'm doing, but I also need to put my heart and soul back into refilling my cup, giving
Yes.
myself some love, finding some time to take a break, finding some time to enjoy life, and not just every single day, cut up my fingers to make my blood turn into something.
Yes. Oh, yes. Absolutely. No,
And
I
I think
100.
it's
Yeah.
extremely important.
Yes. Yeah, and I think, I mean, yeah, hustle culture is not a positive. That just feels like there's nothing wrong with working hard,
Right.
but this idea that the person that tortures themselves the most will be the most successful person. And even if that's true, that's not, still don't do it. Like
Right.
don't do that. That feels like a capitalist concept rather than wanting to be good at your craft and make people feel good about themselves and doing a good job and service. I don't know if it was like that in your household, but I always had this sense of, I mean, you're supposed to serve people,
Right.
not in the someone owns me kind of way, but you're supposed to give back. You're supposed to. I know, still to this day with hair, I'm not as concerned about what I get to do to someone's hair and how it looks at the end as much as about how does that person feel when they leave? Do they leave feeling better when they arrived? The other part, it's not that it doesn't matter, it's that it's not my primary goal. That's
Right.
inevitable. If they feel good about themselves, it does look good.
What's It's all about relationship building, right? It's
Yeah,
about being present in those moments. And when I go to some of the local cosmetology schools and I'm given an opportunity to present either a demo or they just want to hear my story and try to motivate the I call them kids, right?
I
It's
know.
hard not to, but
We do that now. I know. I'm with you.
when I
It
get out,
happened.
exactly, when I get out there in front of 30 people who are, you know, the misfits, we like to call ourselves a society in the hair industry. Like
Yeah,
college didn't work out for most of us. Some of us, it's a career change, from sitting in a cubicle to wanting to do something more creative with your life. I'll sit up there, and the one question that I get all the time is, how did you know you were successful?
oh, that's interesting.
And I say, it's hard to answer because my view of success is completely different from everybody else's.
Hmm.
And it should be a very individual thing. Um, yes, I make money. That's great. I enjoy what I do. That's fantastic. Um, Success to me is that I go home and I'm exhausted at the end of the day, but I'm happy for what I did,
Right.
because in a day I'm meeting, if it's a full day of new clients, it's 8 to 10, and sometimes 12, 13 brand new people that have sat in my chair that I feel I poured my heart into everything that I was doing enough to try to build a relationship with that person. To
Yeah.
say, the reason why you're paying me the money that you're paying me to get your hair done is not just because there was a necessity for you to get a very precise haircut. It was, you felt good at the end of the service because not only did you feel good about the service you received, you felt good about the relationship that was built. There's an experience that came along with that price. Um, my favorite thing to tell people is, look, you sit in my chair, I'm going to remember your name. I'm going to remember your kids. I'm going to remember where you went on vacation 2 summers ago, but I'm never going to remember where your part goes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And I can
Yes.
promise you that.
Yeah. Yes. I can tell you where it should go.
Yes. Even if you don't want it to go there,
Yes.
you know,
I can
your
tell you
life would
what your
probably be a
crown
little
tells
easier.
me, but yes,
Exactly.
exactly.
Even if your hair is telling you that your life would be a lot easier if you put your part here, um, I can promise you that. But I think it's those tidbits of information that I keep with my clients when we are, as the kids say, we're kikiing and chucking it up behind the chair, and that hour goes by. It feels like seconds have gone by, and I'm already
Mm-hmm.
missing this person leaving my chair because we had a good time while you were here. That's what really feels successful to me. Is yeah, I'm never gonna go back to being hungry and on the streets and living out of a car. It's just never gonna happen again because I will work harder than anybody else to make sure that doesn't happen. I will work hard enough to make sure that my two little girls never see hunger. I will work
Mm-hmm.
hard enough to make sure that my wife never has to struggle through anything. Um, but that's not what success is to me. Success is knowing that I'm doing all of those things and I'm happy at the end of the day.
Yeah. Amen to that. Yes, absolutely. Um, that's awesome. So you get to do a bunch of education. Like you're teaching quite a bit by the sounds. I don't know quite a bit. How much are you teaching these days in
So
comparison to doing hair?
I'm the director of education at our salon,
Yep.
which has its responsibilities: calendar building, making sure that the curriculum fits the person,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Well,
we
thank you for
do
doing that.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely,
that was not
um,
my education. So
and it's an education based in the fundamentals. Um,
sure.
Based in
Yeah.
the fundamentals, like where I'm never going to sugarcoat it for anybody and tell them that, oh, we get to learn all the fun stuff right out the gate. No, you're going back to ABCs of haircutting.
Yep.
Um, I get to teach once a week in the salon,
Okay.
depending on whether or not my friend Whitney Haynes, the salon owner, is in town. Because if she's in town, I also like to try to get her in on the calendar so she has an opportunity to flex that
Yep.
creative muscle and teach as well. Um, for our colorist, we have a color director that I build a calendar for. I'm also a national educator for R+Co, and so they're
That's
sending me
awesome.
out pretty often. This year it's a little bit slow. Because we have such a diverse team that I'm not needed everywhere, and I think that's great as well.
Yep.
I'm kind of saying that 2026 has slowed down because God is telling me it's time to breathe for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Last year I was kind of all over the place, and it's fun. It's fun.
Sure.
What a lot of people don't realize is when you're doing double duty, you're working full time in the salon, you're maybe a regional educator, a national educator, you're a director of education, you're getting pulled in many directions at many different times because there's a lot of hats that go along with those jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Sometimes you go home and you don't get to turn it off. Um,
Yep. Yes. Well, I mean, yeah.
I mean,
And
I
then
force
you have
myself to turn it
kids.
off. Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, my office job's the easiest thing I do by a long shot, right? Like this is by
right.
far the no one else is asking me for anything. I mean, we're going to do this and then in 25 minutes I'm going to start a cut and highlights, do that for 2 hours. I'll go home. I'll help out with dinner with the kids. I'll start running baths. I'll send kids outside. I'm going to be doing teeth and brushing hair and getting people into pajamas and getting them to bed and reading books. And then I'll make my wife and I dinner. And then we'll watch a show. And then I'll get back to work from 10 to midnight working on all the stuff that I didn't do today. So,
Absolutely, at 100%.
but I love it.
And I also have to find time to make time for my familial relationships. My
Mm-hmm.
twin sister, God bless her, has been through hell since the day she was born. And sometimes she needs a shoulder, just she needs an ear just to vent. And there are certain people in our family who she lives closer to. She lives down in San Antonio. We live 5 hours away from each other, and so we don't get to see each other. And that check in, I think, is so important as well with
Yeah.
those people in your life.
Yep.
I do this with my friends. Whether it's on the weekends, I run a D&D group. Um,
Nice.
Yes.
Yes. My 10-year-old has been into D&D for the last 2 years, and I played it when I was a kid as well. And he already wants to be a dungeon master, but we've talked about how like you need to be able to keep the story on track. You'll get there,
Yeah.
but you got to be able to keep the story on track. It can't be in your head.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Um,
right. Yeah, my 10-year-old is interested in it, but she is it's a 10-year-old's mind. They want to get to the meat and potatoes really fast. And I'm like, well, we got to do some
yeah,
reading here, and I'll read the stuff for you so you understand the rules of the game. And I'm like, it's just like you came home with multiplication tables, and
yeah.
you want to just understand how it works. And I'm going, we have to learn how to do these things first.
Foundation.
The foundation is very
Got to do the
important.
foundation. Yep.
So, long-winded answer to your question. The short-ended answer to your question about how often am I educating? I feel like daily.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like daily, just because I'm the director of education and because I hold a lot of knowledge in the products that we have carried, do carry, will carry in the salon. Um, I get asked on a daily basis about product usage and what's going to be good for this hair. And hey, can you come help me with this graduation? I'm having a little bit of trouble with this blow dry and this specific hair type. Um, and I encourage my team if they ever have questions. A lot of them are wanting to learn clipper cutting right now. That's where I got my start.
Yeah.
I'm not a barber, didn't go to barber school, but I can fade pretty damn good.
Yes.
Um, I tell the girls all the time, do not ever be afraid to come stand over my shoulder.
Hmm.
And closed mouths don't get fed. If you don't answer questions, I don't know how to answer them for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't read your mind.
Exactly.
I'm not going to cold respond to questions that weren't asked. I can't
No,
do that.
absolutely not.
You need to
Absolutely
be
not.
asking it all the time, and that was the one really lucky thing. The apprenticeship I did was at a 12 chair salon. There were 13 stylists, including myself. Everyone was different. Everyone, they weren't all specializing, but everyone was good at something in particular. No
Right.
one overlapped. I, got to learn from lots of people. I wish I'd gotten my start with clippers. I wasn't allowed to use them for the first 2 years. I was required that I be able to do all of that scissor over comb long before I could do it with clippers. But that was still, I'm not complaining. That's great. I love that part.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that because of my background using clippers first and cutting hair, when I actually went to school and learned scissor over comb, it like opened my entire world to the
Oh yeah,
possibilities.
yeah. Well, it sounds like the primary educator you had at hair school. I'm sure you had lots of educators, but the primary person you said you're still friends with, they were telling you to have beginner's mind when you started there. When I left home at 17, my mom gave me two books, and one of them was called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. And
Yeah.
and you know it? Yeah. I was
Yeah.
like that idea. It's like if you approach a subject matter as if you know everything, you don't know anything. But if you
Absolutely.
come at it as if you know nothing, you can learn everything. And I think that beginner's mind, that's great that you had an educator that was telling you to do that essentially right out the gate.
Absolutely.
It would be easy to go to school and say, I already know how to do this, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
even
For
if you
sure.
did, there's always something to learn.
And that's my philosophy as an educator. The best way to learn is to teach because I'm constantly questioning myself with that little bit of imposter syndrome that pops up every now and again because I do suffer
Just a little.
from yeah. I mean,
Good for you.
a little for me,
Congratulations. Yeah.
a little for me, a lot for a lot of other people. Um,
Yep.
it creeps. I feel like it's always back here. If
Yep.
that makes any sense.
Of course
It's
it does.
looming over me all the time. Suffering from anxiety and depression all of my life because of childhood trauma and the whatnot. Um, Sometimes I question myself. I will fly out to, let's see, I think my next class out of state is going to be in Missouri, and I've never been to Missouri. And so
Right.
I will stress myself out 2 nights before packing up my bags, and my wife's going, "What's wrong with you? You do this all the time, and you've been doing it for years." And I'm going, "You will never understand."
Not in Missouri. I mean,
Not yeah, not in
what
Missouri.
if it's
Never did it in
different there?
Missouri. Exactly. They say the barbecue's better than Texas. I mean, arguable, but
It but it's what I'm sure they say that. Yes.
Right. But,
Yeah.
we'll see when we get there. It's not that I don't know how to say the words. It's this audience that I'm going to be with for literally 2 to 3 hours is the first time I'm meeting these people.
Yeah.
And I don't have a very big window of time to formulate how I'm going to deliver the information to these people. And so I have to make a lot of snap decisions as I'm introducing myself to the salon, feeling out the space, seeing who's paying attention and everything like that. So I can focus on the people that really want to be there, um, to really understand what I'm doing. And so there's always going to be that level of stage fright, the level of, hey, R&Co, are you guys sending the right guy out right now? Um, Obviously, you guys wouldn't send me out to teach a class if you didn't believe in me and my capabilities. But
What if they
so,
do?
you
I
know,
mean, maybe this is the time, right? Yeah. No, I
exactly.
hear you. Yes. No, I hear you. I don't. Yeah. Actually, don't think I'd trust an educator that didn't have imposter syndrome. I wouldn't wish it upon anyone,
No,
but I would expect it from almost everyone that's truly great at what they do,
right,
education
right.
included, for
I think
better or
there's a
worse.
there's a there's a big conversation about ego in our industry,
Mm-hmm.
um, about humility in our industry, and I tell people, look, I lead with humility, but understand that I couldn't do what I'm doing if there wasn't a little bit of ego in there. And
Oh, yeah.
there has to be a balance. Um, and I tell my friends, I tell my wife, I tell all of my colleagues, and I'll even tell you, Liam, if I ever get to meet you in person and shake your hands, if you ever see me doing something that's coming from an abundance of ego, where I'm kind of stepping in a direction that seems a little cringe, like
Mm-hmm.
I would think that as we become friends, even you would call that out and be like, hey, because I love you, because I care about you, because we consider each other friends, and I don't use that word lightly, um, you need to chill a little bit, kind of
Yeah.
revisit what came out of your mouth and think about the person that you're presenting yourself to be. And so being an educator has really helped me balance that out. And again, the best way to learn is to teach. I go into every teaching situation going, okay, what can I learn from these students today? What do I have to gain from this situation, as it's a reciprocal situation? I'm giving you the knowledge that I have, and if I fumble along the way, or you can give me an aha, for lack of
Mm-hmm.
better words, I'm going to take something away from that and go, okay, well, it's either a situation where I need to fine tune my skills in a sense, or I need to reword things a little bit better. One of my favorite quotes from Albert Einstein is, "If you can't explain it simply, you simply don't know enough."
Yes. It's that stuff that makes him seem smart to me. I mean,
Right.
I recognize it's one of the smarter people of all time, but it's the fact that he says that stuff where I'm
Yes.
like, oh, he's really smart.
Fewer words, fewer words, more meaning type of situation. That
Yeah.
statement has so much power that I'm going, hey guys, if you're not understanding what I'm saying, then I need to go back to the drawing board and go back to practice, and
Yeah.
practice honest enough that I can humble myself to say, it's okay that I don't know the answer right now, but give me some time so that I can develop that muscle a little bit more, so that I can give you the answer in a simplistic way that you get it right off the bat.
Yeah. I love it. I would, yeah. I wish I'd had the opportunity to teach more. I'm doing hair 2 days a week at this point, and it's a one chair spot on the other side of the blurry shelf behind me. I do have somebody that rents my chair a few days a week, and I've gotten to help teach, like, mentoring from a business perspective, and from how to get busy, how to stay busy, what works, what doesn't work in that way. So I've gotten to do that, but not as much teaching here. I would love to, because I feel like like you're saying, it helps you. I mean, you learn foundation and then you learn to break the rules. And then I think if you're not teaching it, you start forgetting what it is. You'll still intuitively do it, but you might not remember it. And there's something missing if you aren't constantly reminding yourself, oh, that's right. I'm supposed to do this. Well,
Right.
no, you shouldn't take 2 sections per haircut. You should probably take a few more. Can I? Yes.
Yeah.
Do I even need to take a section? No, I can do it without I sort of, but I can do it almost without the sassoon sections that I took back in the day. But should I still do it? Probably. Some
Right.
of the time,
Right.
even
If
just to remember why.
if it gives you control and an end result that you're looking for, then why not?
Yeah.
Then why not? There's a book by Simon Sinek that I really love.
Hmm.
Got me into reading Simon Sinek, if you know
Hmm.
who he is.
I do.
Um,
Yeah.
Start with why,
Right.
because with education, that's the most important question that can be answered.
Yeah.
Why am I standing where I'm standing? Why do I have to hold my scissors the way that I hold my scissors? Why do my elbows need to be down by my side when I'm blow drying, so that that person can learn that if you're blow drying like this all of the time, you're going to have shoulder problems and back problems later on in life.
Oh,
That's going
yeah.
to end your career a lot quicker. And this is the reason why we do those things. And so um,
Right. How many
I'd
times
like
have I
to
had to say to someone, either sit or pump the chair up? There's a reason it goes up. Like, it doesn't have to be at your waist. I don't know
absolutely
why
use
you're
your
doing it.
mirrors.
Yeah.
Use your
Oh,
if
my.
you're lucky
Yes.
enough to have mirrors on either side of you, use your mirrors as a second set of eyes for you, so you can really see what you're doing, and without having to step 10 feet back to look at the haircut from a distance, you can see it in that mirror right back there.
Yeah.
Remarkable how those little things can change things. But with that being said, I'd like to kind of Uno reverse things on you.
Yeah.
Um,
Go.
I, I feel like you don't give yourself enough credit because you're not educating in a traditional sense. But I think that what you're doing here, um, you're kind of educating the world on the possibilities of education that's available.
Yeah.
You're giving a platform to your own voice by educating people through the questions that you're asking. Because you're able to now, by asking me questions and asking anyone else that you interview questions, you're able to answer those whys that people have a yearning for. And I think that's incredible. So I'd like to
Very
say
nice of you to say.
you are a honorary educator in my mind.
Thank you.
My
Yes.
pleasure.
Yes. It's a treat. I actually treat this, the rest of the team that I work with on Salon Monster, they're going to say, how come you didn't put together 15 questions to ask that all lead to the clips that we really want to use on social media and that we can use to sell our product? And I'll say what I really love about getting to do these interviews and conversations. It's the same thing I love about people in my chair. I get to learn something different from everyone has something to teach me. I know so many weird facts about strange industries most people will never know about. I hear we hear the weirdest stories. It's such a because we're so lucky to have such an unusually intimate job. There's not a lot of things where within a few minutes you're touching a person.
Right.
For the most part, there's a limited amount of jobs where you start touching someone. So you're immediately in this intimate position. And so you get to start having these conversations with people that might take years of outside relationships to get to. And I'm, 3 appointments in, I'm hearing about the strange intricacies of someone's relationships or jobs or whatever. It's such a,
Absolutely.
it's such a treat.
Absolutely.
But I am going to ask one of the questions my team would want me to ask, which is somebody comes to you and says, I want to get into the hair industry. What's
Ooh.
what's the first piece of advice you'd give them? And obviously there's no wrong answer. What comes to mind? What's one of the things, I come to you and say, Jermaine, I'm really interested in maybe getting into doing hair, or I've just started school. Is there a piece of advice you'd give me to be able to figure out how to do it or make it.
Let's go to the advice giving for that, because
Yeah,
I do get that question quite often.
sure.
Um, I just started school, or I'm thinking about going to school. Um, when people ask me, what school do you think that I should go to? I'm like, just go.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what brand is on that school. Just go to school and get your education. Pay attention enough to take something away from it so you can get your license. But the biggest advice I give people just starting out in the industry is to be yourself. Be yourself, because the term I like to use is the cookie cutter. You can do cookie cutter color. You can do cookie cutter hair cutting. You can imitate, and there's a place for that for sure. But what's going to make you feel successful is not losing yourself in the process. And so remember
Yeah.
that you're human. You have emotions, and it's okay to feel those emotions. It's okay to be frustrated and angry and sometimes hurt by things that might be said to you or done to you while you're in cosmetology, in the sense that, like, you may have an educator that believes in you so much that they're harder on you than anyone else because they want to see you succeed. If you take offense to that person trying to help you, you're not helping yourself by withdrawing. You are denying yourself that step forward. So be yourself, for
Hmm.
yourself and for no one else, because that's what's going to set you apart in the industry from everybody else who maybe is doing the same things.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a really interesting thing to tell people because I don't know if it was like this for you. You know, when I got my start and I'm working in the salon, I was told to say yes to everyone. And I'm not saying you know, I learned how to deal with a lot of different stuff because of that.
Right.
But it wasn't until I started being me that I began to build the clientele that suits me, that I'm most likely to give what they want, which,
Right.
back to your point about ego, you know, my ego is wrapped up in this, not because I want to feel like the, you know, greatest hairdresser that ever lived, but that when I said I want somebody to feel better when they leave than when they came in, I didn't really say that in the completely honest way. I need them to feel better when they leave than when they came in, right? You know,
Absolutely.
if one of those 8 people doesn't, the day's a bust. Is that a positive? No, not necessarily. That's a work in progress and will continue to be forever ish. But
And anybody who says that they don't feel that way when they get a negative review, out of the 3 years that you've been working, you get that one bad review on Google.
hmm,
If you can honestly say you don't feel hurt, then there's way too much ego.
yeah,
There's
or you're
way
a
because
sociopath, one of the two. Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
Amazing. Now I wish we could talk all day. We have to do this again. Okay. I'm just going to ask for the folks that are listening to this, what is the next thing that you're up to, and how can people find out about it and find you?
Well, the next thing that I'm up to is I am unfortunately one of those millennials who is terrible with social media. And so my year of education for
Yes.
myself is learning from the youngsters around me. And the young lady who cuts my hair, I just got a haircut on Monday. It's been like the first time in 3 years that I got like a salon professional haircut. We
Nice.
took
That's
off like a
great.
good like 5 inches.
Wow.
Um, she is, I don't really like using the term a protege of mine. She considers me a mentor. She worked at Form for many years before I got there, and then left a few years back and went independent, is doing her own thing. She's a curl specialist and everything like that. And while I was sitting in her chair on Monday, feeling awkward because I never sit in the chair myself, um, she's doing my hair, and she brought up a good question. She said, "Hey, I've got a friend that works in social media, and she's helping me out to learn a little bit more about social media because I just got a dog and I want to open a page for him, and this, that, and the other." She goes, "We should have a play date."
Oh, yes.
And so when she said that, I was going, that's it, sometimes you have these random conversations and an idea pops into your head. And I said, I think this year, not only am I going to kind of go on this personal journey in education where I learn the ins and outs of social media. I used to be better at it. And I think I've just
Yeah.
kind of lost that drive. And maybe sitting down in a course or two would help, and having a play date or two will definitely help.
Yeah.
Um, the idea that I came up with is taking that term play date and turning it into something a little bit bigger than myself, and maybe having a once a month communal get together of like-minded people that want to just be in a salon, cut hair, no cameras, no audience, and just kind of feed off of each other. Hey, what are you doing? I really need some help with that. Can I come over and watch you? Do you want to come over and watch me do this, that, and the other? And so, um, my friend Ashton also brought that up. It's something that she's passionate about as well. So I've kind of teamed up with her, and kind of fleshing this out. And then I'm going to present it to the right people, so that we can try to make it happen. I wouldn't say I know exactly when that's going to happen, but if people would follow me on Instagram, that's the
Mm-hmm.
only social media that I use,
Mm-hmm.
at underscore SHARP sharp underscore one, ONE underscore. Um, you can find a lot of what I'm going to be doing on there because although I'm terrible at social media, I
Yep.
do post a lot about what I'm doing. That's probably the best way to get a hold of me.
Yep.
Um, I like to tell people if you message me, I might not get back to you right away, but within 24 hours, you will get a message back.
Right. Yes. Yep. Fair enough. Yep. I'm about the same. Yeah. That's my social media acumen. I used to be much better at it. My last post that wasn't collaborating on a reel for Salon Monster, I think, was in July of 2024 or something like that. You can find politically charged reposting of things in my stories if you want, and
Same here.
you can find me yelling from the rooftops about lots of stuff. But as far as like moving my hair career forward, probably not doing it particularly actively. Yeah. Amazing. That sounds really cool. I wish I was in Dallas or even vaguely close to Dallas. I would love to go to that. That sounds
You know,
amazing.
if it's something that pops off the way that I envision it, and every idea doesn't have to be a winning idea. If it
Yep.
doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm not going to be sad about it. I think I'll be happy that we attempted, and it failed, more than attempting it becoming something really big, and then it becoming so much bigger than myself that it becomes stressful. I
Yeah.
want it to be something that's enjoyable for everybody involved. And I think that similar to what Tatum Neal is doing with Elevate Hair,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to eventually maybe do this kind of like a tour kind of deal at some point. And so
Yes.
grandiose ideas, but it's got to start somewhere. And right
Yeah.
now it's just pencil and paper, trying to figure out logistics and everything like that so that I can go, here is a typed up. I don't like to go on with an idea to someone who can make that idea happen,
No.
without a plan of action first.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where we're at right now.
Well, I'm going to get in touch and find out where this is at because if it does turn into a thing, I would like to have another conversation about it in the not too distant future.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Jer- Jermaine, thanks for making the time. I really appreciate it.
It was an absolutely pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, outstanding. Let's do it again sometime.
I would love to.